The Sons of Antiquity present The Hot Take Show. Today's episode:
Journalists suck.
Hello everybody, welcome back to The Hot Take Show. I'm your host Dan, and I'm joined in this lovely studio by my co-host Evan.
How's it going?
There's a reason why Jesus welcomed the poor, the sick, tax collectors, and even prostitutes to follow his teachings, but never journalists. That's because they are literally the devil.
Journalists
are the devil!
Don't believe me? Keep watching. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Let's talk about the purpose of journalists. If you ask them, they would undoubtedly say something about speaking truth to power, or democracy dies in darkness. But let's be clear, their purpose is to make money for their employer, plain and simple. That's what all private sector employees are hired to do, including us. And how do news outlets make money? Mostly through advertising. How do they get advertisers to pay big bucks to be on their platform? They have to prove that a lot of people watch their network, of course. So here's what it boils down to: telling the people what they want to hear, or manipulating them to believe that you're the only font of wisdom. Journalists for major networks must rile up everybody in order to make money for said networks. You rile people up by lying, exaggerating, and gossiping.
And speaking of lying, exaggerating, and gossiping, the Biden administration recently announced the creation of a disinformation governance board as part of the Department of Homeland Security, more like the Ministry of Truth, as many commentators have said. They appointed Nina Jankowicz, whose disinformation-themed TikToks to the tune of Mary Poppins songs have caused the clown world meter to redline. As if we needed more regulation of speech, when Psaki already admitted that they were working with social media sites to limit misinformation. Big tech is already censoring, the journalists lie by omission, and they gaslight their readers. Enough of that.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The stupidity of TV journalists should not be underestimated. First of all, it doesn't take much intelligence to sit in front of a camera, read a script, and look pretty. In fact, we do it all the time. Their analyses hardly ever go beyond the surface level. They will tell you what happened and maybe have a few clips of it. They will use carefully selected videos of the powerful speaking about it, and sometimes a witness with the right take.
I'm standing here with Fred, who says he was greatly impacted by the gushing of oil. Can you tell us a little more of what you saw?
But do they ever present us with the real arguments presented by both sides? Never.
And this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call the lobsters by their preferred personal pronouns. So you're saying...
Their clips of speeches hardly ever exceed 5 seconds. This is largely the fault of television and the dumbing down of the American public. Watch Hot Takes Episode 1 on television. You won't regret it. Another important point is that journalists don't actually produce anything. While a factory worker makes products, a manager directs people, and a barber performs useful services, a journalist simply tells us about what other people are doing. So they criticize everyone else, aka the people actually making a difference in the world, while they sit in their chair and produce nothing of value whatsoever. While they are often parasites, sometimes they are more like accessories to crime.
I'm the last person I would have suspected, but I was looking for me all the time!
Let me explain. When there are serial killers and school shooters, you better believe these creeps are ecstatic. More ratings and more money. While many have rightly argued that plastering the pictures, backgrounds, and actions of killers just creates copycats and more killing, the media outlets don't have the integrity to stop the spread of carnage. It is much too enticing to make a big deal out of these losers, so that the masses will be glued to their screens.
Journalism used to be about risking life, limb, and reputation to find the truth. Journalists used to hold powerful people accountable and actually cared about the little guy. From Upton Sinclair's expose on the meatpacking industry to the war photographers of Vietnam, and even the brave Geraldo Rivera's bold charge into Al Capone's vault.
When we began opening this vault nearly 2 hours ago, we had no real idea what we'd find inside. As it turns out, we haven't found very much.
It was all about speaking truth to power, as Evan said. But what about now? Now journalism is dominated by low-T man-children and stinky cat ladies who rarely left the warm, cozy confines of their shoebox apartment in the liberal city of their choice. But don't worry. You can trust that their analysis of complex foreign policy decisions, economic trends, pandemics, climate science, and the rest is perfectly sound. Modern journos don't risk it all to fight the establishment. They are the establishment. They exist to spoon-feed the party-approved messages to the masses and run interference when things go south.
These images came and come in stark contrast to what we saw over the course of the daytime hours in Kenosha and into the early evening, which were largely peaceful demonstrations,
Every major news outlet serves as a lackey for the party line. Just so you don't think we're a lackey too. Let's start with Fox News.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. There was a lot of going down.
Sure, it stands out from the pack because it doesn't promote a left-of-center agenda, but it is still mindless indoctrination, most of the time. Watch Hannity and tell me that he is a perfectly reasonable guy.
Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton.
Who on Fox is actually a Democrat besides their token black guy?
Oh my gosh, Juan Williams. Is he still on there?
I think. I just looked up black Democrat on Fox.
The only thing that came up, yeah.
Well, there's a few, like there's Donna Brazil and stuff, but I'm still just making that joke.
Oh, okay. I think he's still on the 5 at least, yeah.
Yeah, I know he's still a contributor.
What a guy.
But enough picking on Fox for now. It is a haven for Platonic dialogue compared to the other channels. CNN is an absolute joke.
And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Even Meet the Press turns into a shouting match with guests trying to get their zinger in their 5-second window.
Don't even get me started on The View.
Muslims kill this amount.
A major problem which goes hand in hand with the profit motive I mentioned earlier is that wrath sells. So if you're CNN, you show the most outrageous Trump clip and the most recent scandal with Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, in order to convince your audience that the Republicans are crazy. If you're Fox, you can just show any part of a Biden speech.
Nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
Or some, quote, thugs robbing a store during a protest to rile up your boomers. Just like the school shooting coverage, the media profits off of violence, chaos, and hatred. And what's a better way to drum up business than to encourage violence, chaos, and hatred yourself?
You know, Evan, I can't help but feel like all these journalists and news organizations have something in common. It's just a feeling I've got. Like something's about to happen, but I don't know what. We're in trouble. Big trouble. And if their noses are as big as you say, I'm not taking any chances.